Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Beyond the Gates Season 2, Episode 50. Now, before we begin, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. All right, so we start this episode off with Madison and Chelsea. They're at the country club and they're waiting to meet Danny and Kat so they can discuss wedding plans or whatnot. So they talk about Jacob and Naomi's wedding and how it was like a fairy tale and all this other stuff. And then they talk about, Kat being late and how she's always late or something like that or whatever. So we then see Naomi. She wakes up to a note from Jacob. Like she wakes up and the bed is empty and she sees a note from Jacob. And the note is basically saying, I went to go get some coffee. I'll be right back. So she hears there's a knock on the door and she goes to open the door and it's Naomi. I mean, she thinks it's Jacob, but it's actually Danny. So sorry. So it's Danny. She's at the door and she's just like, wait, mom, how did you know I was here? And she's just like, oh, Jacob told Elon before, and she was just like, before what? Before what? And so Danny is telling her, there was a drive by at Orphe Jeans, and Jacob didn't make it. And so Naomi breaks down crying, and this was I felt bad. I was just like, oh, I know they didn't do it like this. Like, come on now, y'all tripping. So she's crying. She's just like, there's so much that we had to do. I didn't get to tell him this. I love my husband, da, 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 all this other stuff. And it was just like so sad. And then, what's it called? Danny is just like, just close your eyes, just go to sleep. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And Naomi's just like, I don't want to close my eyes because when I wake back up, he's not going to be here. And she's just like, it's okay. It's okay. She lulls her to go back to sleep. And then Naomi jumps up, like screaming, Jacob. And then Jacob is sitting right there. And she was just like, oh my God, and I thought, and so he's just like, I'm so sorry that, that you have to go through this. Like um yeah, he's just like, sorry you have to go through this. She's just like so happy that her dream wasn't a reality. They start talking about him living by himself and the things that he used to do when he was on his own or whatnot. So they're, laughing about that. Um he talks about his cover story and him not wearing his ring when he's out on the street, but he wanted to put it back on because he put it back on because he wanted it, when he's with Naomi, he wants it to be real or whatever. So he has to go because he has to get back on the street corner or whatever. I'm sorry. But yeah, so he has to go. So he leaves and yeah, he leaves to go back to that street corner and we see what's her name? Naomi. She goes to the hospital to talk to Ashley, and she just basically tells her, I just saw Jacob and it's getting harder. It's harder than I thought it would be or whatever. So we see and I do apologize. I'm going like all over the place in this episode because the main part of what I want to talk about, I'm gonna talk about it at the end because it's gonna be a lot. Sorry. So, but y'all know how I do. So we see Carlton. He comes in to visit Naomi. I mean, not Naomi. He comes in to visit Nicole. All these names. So he comes in to visit Nicole. He's back from his trip. He talks about the trip and how it went, and he was ready to come back home because he's been missing her. And she asked him to go on the double date with him or whatever. And then they make jokes about Joey being a gangster and all this other stuff. So then Kyle comes in and he asks for his watch or whatever. And he's trying to goad Carlton or whatever. They have a back and forth or whatever. So he asked Naomi, like, I mean, not Naomi. When he asked Nicole for his watch, he was just like, "So where did you find it?" And she was just like, "You know where I found it. Like, what is we doing right now?" So again, Carlton and Kyle are going back and forth. I mean, not Naomi. I keep calling her Naomi. Um, Nicole hushes them, and she, like, she goes in on them for acting like little kids, and then making a remark about the basketball game or whatever. Carlton apologizes, and he's like, um yeah, Carlton apologizes. He leaves. Kyle stays back. Nicole goes in on Kyle, and she puts him in his place and was just like, "You doing the absolute most. And right now, I don't want to see you. And if I see you again, we'll see. Because right now, I don't too much want to see you. And me forgiving you is we I don't know if that's gonna happen right now." So she runs into Carlton again in the not the holiday in the hallway, and she apologizes again for what happened or whatever. Carlton tells her uh he understands, and he's just like, "I'm gonna be here because I want to be with you, and if that means having to deal with you dating other people, then I'm gonna just sit here and wait my time, basically." So we see what else happens in this episode. I'm trying to get to the parts of the episode that I want to talk about, because I think let's see. Okay. And I do apologize. All right. Okay. So we're going to start here. So we see Leslie. She is at the club, and she's talking to Bijou. She's a wedding planner, and she's, talking about her wedding. And they're looking at the wedding hall space for the they're looking at the wedding hall space in the club, and she's just like, my wedding is gonna put the Duprees to shame, and da 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 da, and all this other stuff. And so Bijou's just like, "Oh, okay, so who's the lucky guy?" And she was just like, "Oh, my guy is, um he hasn't popped the question yet. His divorce isn't finalized." And so Bijou is just like, "So then who are we here for?" And she's just like, "Oh, for my daughter." And then she's talking about, "Oh yes, for my daughter and her fine man," and all this other stuff. And then Bijou's just looking at her funny, and it's just like, "Girl, what?" So they go look at the hall, I guess, for at the country club. And Leslie's complaining about the club space, and that it needs to be bigger and better, and all this other stuff. And she wants to, give these ideas and whatnot. So we see Danny and Kat, they finally come, and they're all happy. They're just, having a good little time. They go to Chelsea and Madison's table, and they all sit with them. They start to discuss the wedding plans or whatever. And not Chelsea, Madison has to leave. So Madison leaves, and it's just the three girls, and they're all discussing like all the different wedding plans that they want. Like they discuss the wedding planner, not the wedding planner. They discuss where they want to have the wedding, the who they want to design the dresses, who they who the band is that they want. They want to do a live band at one portion, and then they want to have a string quartet at a different portion. And as they're talking about all of this, you see Leslie, and she is like, she's listening to them, and she's in her phone. She's doing Siri on her phone, trying to take their ideas. But then they her phone dies or whatever, so she goes and grabs a pen and paper and she starts writing down all the ideas that they're giving or whatever. So she walks away. Kat sees her walking away, and Leslie runs to Bijou and she gives her all the notes, and she's just like, I want you to book all these places, all these things, everything. This is what I want for my daughter's wedding. Get to it. So she leaves, and we then see Cat, Naomi, and not Naomi, Cat, Nicole, not Nicole. What is Cat, Chelsea, and Danny? They're calling all the places that they just had their that they were just trying to, all the ideas that they had, they're calling it, and everything is booked for every date. The date that they picked, even their backup date, all of it is booked. And they're just like, that's wild, like that's crazy. So Danny's just like, you know what? I know the perfect person to call. So she calls Bijou, and she hears her ringtone in the other room. So she goes to the other room and she sees Bijou, and she's just like, girl, I was just calling you. And she's just like, why do you look so flustered? And Bijou's just like, I don't want to do wedding planning no more. I quit, basically. And she's just like that flustered. So apparently Bijou tells her everything. So Danny goes back to the girls, and she was just like, you would not believe who hijacked our wedding or whatever. So we get off of that. So we see Leslie. I'm sorry, did I even skip this? I think I put them on the screen but didn't say anything. Sorry. So we see Eva and Isaiah. Okay, yeah. So we see Eva and Isaiah. They're at her place and they're, having sexy time or whatever. He wants her to call into work. She's just like, no. They go take a shower, have sex. When she comes out after she was about to get dressed, she hears that Isaiah's on the phone with Ted, and he low key called out for her, but she's just like, no, I'll go in late work. And then they start to have sex again. They're on the couch. Leslie comes in. They're both naked on the couch. Leslie comes and she sits down in front of them and she wants to talk to them about the wedding. And Eva's just like, leave. And she's just like, no, I want to talk to y'all. Eva finally gets her to leave. So she leaves. They go get dressed or whatever. Leslie comes back and she's just like, uh, she comes back and she wants to talk to them. Eva's just like, yeah, I don't have time to talk to you. I'm getting ready to leave. So you need to leave. And Isaiah's just like, no, it's okay. Well, I want to talk to her. So it's okay. She can be here, whatever. So Eva leaves to go to work. Isaiah's talking to Leslie, and he basically tells her like, you coming on strong, you're about to ruin things for her. Quit. I'm sorry. First he puts his hands on her knees and he was just like, Leslie, what am I about to do with you? And she's just like, I don't roll like that. What would you make you think that I would roll like that? And it's just like, ma'am, you you do roll like that low key. So, and you've been talking about how fine this man is. Of course he would think that, but he was just like, no, I'm not even trying to get with you. And she's just like, you couldn't handle me. And it's just like, but you just told him that you don't roll like that. So why would you say that? So he tells her like, you are coming on strong. You messing things up for Eva. You need to chill. Just cool it with the wedding plans. Like, cool it. And she was just like, all right, cool, I'll cool it, whatever. We get a little we see a clip of what's it called, um Eva and Madison, and they talk about um Madison doing her research and Eva opening up the clinic. So they have a little kiki. Don't know what the reason for this was, but I digress. So, yeah, that was the episode. Um, yeah, that was pretty much the episode. Oh yeah, we see Jacob back on a street corner. He is talking to his connect, trying to saying that he wants more work, whatever. But for the most part, that was the episode. So what I want to discuss again is the whole Leslie portion of this. The fact that you are stealing all, like, what was the purpose of this scene? What was the purpose of her coming in to steal all of Chelsea's wedding plans? Like, it made absolutely no sense. It's just another way of them putting Leslie in a spot that she does not need to be in. If this was Tomas and Kat throwing a wedding, that would make more sense because you don't like Kat. Of course, you want to come against Kat at any point that you can. That makes sense. This that you're doing to Chelsea, who has done nothing but, Chelsea hasn't done anything to you. Chelsea doesn't even acknowledge you. She is the one who's opening doors and letting you into their house. That is who Chelsea is. So the fact that you would go in and want to take all of her wedding plans for your daughter, it's like, this is why, like, initially I loved to hate Leslie. At this point, I just hate seeing Leslie on my screen. There's no purpose to her. She's just a caricature. She is pathetic. She's a loser. And I hate saying that about a character on my TV screen because it's like, because like I want to love all of these characters, even if it's a love to hate type of relationship that I will have with these characters. I would rather have that type of relationship with these characters than I just hate seeing them on my screen, because every time I see her, she's doing something that makes no sense. And then it's also, she's getting away with everything, because it's just like, okay, so you came and you stole all of Chelsea and Madison's wedding plans for your daughter who's not even engaged. For what? What is this going to do for you? What does this do for you? All it does, it makes you look bad to the Duprees. Like, it's like you keep antagonizing these people, and as of this episode, they have not done anything to you. One, they've never done anything to you. You've always just went out of your way to come after them because you were mad that Ted chose their daughter. That's basically the whole point of the Leslie character. You are mad at the Duprees because Ted decided to stay with his wife, a wife that you knew about. Okay, whatever. So now you keep antagonizing them and they haven't done anything to you. So now when they push back, don't get mad. Don't even try to get even, because you have been antagonizing them this whole year and they have done nothing to you. So when they come at you, you can't say nothing because you started this. You legit started this and you continue to keep on with it. You started it. You came after them because of Ted. Ted and Nicole are no longer together, but Ted still don't want you. Instead of you antagonizing Ted, you still antagonize the Duprees. I don't get it. You find out who your birth mom is. You're getting money from the Duprees. They are the reason why you are rich. They, again, didn't give any pushback to make sure that you don't get that money. They let you have that money, and yet you still antagonize them. Like, where are we going with the Leslie character? That's what I want to know. Like, I want to know where we're going with her. Like, she needs to be humbled. And even her daughter can't humble her. So it's just like, what are we doing here? What are we doing with this character? We need a break from Leslie. But we won't get it because she is a fantastic actress. They love her. And it is what it is at this point. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, turning on your post notifications. So you know whenever I post, get down in the comments, tell me what you guys thought of this episode. Tell me how you guys feel about Leslie. Am I tripping or am I seeing it the way I'm seeing it? Y'all let me know. But I will see you guys in the next one.